The time has come. TCS NQT is happening throughout the week. Here we are gonna discuss some codes that are coming in TCS NQT slash Ninja, you can say, and we will discuss the code. We will see what are the solutions in C++, in Java, in Python. So let's jump into it. So before that, I will like to say that you can follow us in these platforms. You can follow us in Instagram, you can join Discord channel, WhatsApp group, Telegram group of Prep Insta. You can also like the Facebook page of Prep Insta. Now this is coding that came in TCS in a previous slot. I think it was in day 1 and slot 1. Now the coding problem is I have named it chocolate factory. The coding problems doesn't have any name in general, but I like to name coding problems so that we can just have a solution for a given problem. Now this problem says that you will be given an array and you have to return an array where the zeros are at the last of the array. Also the numbers that are non-zero will be in order, and at first the n will be given. Suppose the number is, let's say, 6. Now there will be 6 elements in the array, so the elements will be 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 0, and you will return when you will turn the zeros in the last of the array, and then you will get 2, 3, 1, 2, 0 and 0. You will return and print this one. So that's the problem. Now let us see how we are doing it. At first you can just take it like I and j, where I will be all the indexes and j will be your index. Now whenever you are going to I, you are taking the input for array of I, but you are not storing it in array of I, you are storing it in array of j. If it is not 0, then only you are doing a j++. Let us see. This is the C++ code for the same thing. In here you are taking input for n. So suppose n is 6, you are taking input for 6, then you are taking it this array where all the values are default 0. This is how you can do that. Also you can use vector. You can write vector of int, then you can write the name, and then in a bracket, in the first bracket, at first how many elements will be there and what will be their default value. So you can write this thing also, or you can write this thing also. So at first n is 6. After that you have taken this array, so we are taking this array of 6 elements, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now we will take a for loop. It will go exactly 6 times, and there is a j that is at first 0. Now we are taking this input for j. We are checking if a of j is not equals to 0, they only j++. Suppose a of j is the input you have taken, that is 2, so it is not equals to 0, so j will be 1. The value will be the value will be incremented, and this is the array. Suppose, so the first element will be 2, then suppose the input is 3, so it will be 3. It is also non-zero, so it will be incremented as 2. Suppose after that there is a 0, so here is what is it supposed to be, it is a 0. But now you have take this condition that a of j, if it is not equals to 0, then only j++, otherwise j will be the same. So it is now 0, but j is the same. After that, if it is input of 1, then you are taking this 1 in this place, because j is also the same. So array of j will be taking 1, and after that j will be 3. In the same case also, if you take 4, it will be 4, it will be 4, and now all the 6 inputs are taken. If you are taking the last thing also as 0, so this was your input, but now this is your output where the last values are default 0. Now you will just print this thing using this one, and the total thing is going in O of n time complexity, and no other space is required rather than the array we are taking. So that's it. In Python we are doing the same thing in different index, different syntax. N equals to int of input. We are taking the input, and then all the default input in string are in string class. So we will take it the integer type of that string. Then j is equals to 0, l is 0 for I in range n. This is how you take an array where all the elements are 0. Okay, this is the syntax for it. Like you said, a of n equals to 0 in second bracket. This is the same thing as here. And then for I in range n, we are taking a equals to input. If a is not equals to 0, then only l of j equals to a, and j will be plus equals to 1. And for I in l, you will be printing this thing. The logic is described previously, so I'm not going through the logic. The time complexity and the space complexity is also the same. And this is the Python code for the same thing. You are just scanning the thing using this new scanner class, and then n is the sc.nextInt. In this way you are taking the first input, and then for all the elements you are taking the second input. Then you are using this count, and you are doing the same stuff again and again in Java. And the same time complexity and space complexity. So you can see the problem is not that hard, but it can be a bit tricky for people. Now I will like to share something, that is, we have this Prepinsta Prime that you can buy for your preparation, so that you can ace your preparation. What we have is TCS Ion Remote certifications, and also there are many other certifications. And let us see, we have another thing, that is the Prepinsta PDF for TCS NQT. I will like to say you this is totally free for all the guys. You can just take this, but I will like to say you not to download this thing, because we are again and again uploading new stuffs in the total doc, because TCS NQT is going on for a week. So we need time so that we can get all the previous slots. All the previous slots questions are there, all the MCQs, all the coding questions we are getting. So we are uploading the total optimized solution for all the coding question in C++, Java and Python. And I will like to say you to bookmark this whole thing. Don't download this thing, because then you will miss the new parts we are uploading after each slot. So that's it. Now let us jump into the next problem, that is TCS NQT problem, hash and star. Also this name is given by me because there are no names for each problems. Now this problem says there will be string that is made of star and hash, also many things, because this is told as the star and hash can be at any position of the string. That means you can give a star b, also there can be a space, then c hash d. So this can also be the input. Now you have to see if the string is valid or not. If it is invalid, you need to see how many stars are greater or how many hashes are greater. But if the stars are greater than hashes, then positive integer you have to print how many stars are greater. If hash is greater than star, you have to print negative integer how many hash are less. And if both are the same, you have to print 0. So yeah, we can do the thing like we can count how many stars are there as st and how many hash are there in hs, and then we can just print st minus hs. If hs is greater, then obviously it will be negative. Otherwise, if though two values are the same, obviously it will be 0. But the challenging part for some people, especially who use C or C++, how to take the whole string. Suppose you are taking this string as string s, then you are writing c in s. So you are giving this input a star b space c hash d, and you are taking the output, and the output says it is 1. But you see that there is exactly 1 star and 1 hash. Why the output is 1? Because after the space, c doesn't take the same thing. If you take c in, it will be terminated till the string. After the string, it will now take the value of this one. So to take the total line as input, you have to use getLine. In Python, it is the same thing. Like you say input and it takes all the input if you don't use any dot split or something. But in C++, you need to use getLine. So when you take this getLine, you will get the proper thing and you can use that. So this is the C++ code. S is what? S is the string, and A is the number of star, B is the number of hash. Now getLine is used. Now what is for auto I in S? It is like uh, suppose in C++ string is a container or a container class. So what this works like, if you say auto I in S, the I automatically takes all the elements that is in C. Now that we know that the string class has the character elements. All the elements in the string class are character. So automatically I is a character, and I is assigned with all the values from s of 0 till s of s dot length minus 1. So that's it. Now you are so I is the character. So you are taking this if I is hash, then b plus plus, otherwise a plus plus, and at last you are printing a minus b. Time complexity is O of n, because we know that n is the length of the input string. So we have to traverse the total string just one time. That's why the time complexity is O of n, and no additional space is required for that part. This is the same thing for Python. You're taking this input, it automatically takes the total string as input even if there is space, and a is 0, b is 0. For I in S, this is totally like C++, where all the elements of S will be assigned in I. Then you are checking if I is star, then a plus 1, otherwise b plus 1. In Python you cannot do b plus plus, you have to write b plus 1 plus equals to 1, or b equals to b plus 1, like that. And at last you are printing a minus b. The time complexity is O of n. Now this is what you say the Java code. The same thing is happening. You are taking the total input, you are taking it in str, then count 1 and count 2 as a and b, and count 1 is incremented if it is a star, and count 2 is incremented if it is a hash, and at last you are printing count 1 minus count 2, and the same time complexity is there. This is another coding problem in TCS NQT, that is called wheels. Now let us see the problem. This problem says an automobile company has the value of how many vehicles are there and how many wheels are there, and it have to say that how many two-wheelers are there and how many four-wheelers are there. Now let us see one thing. Vehicle means how many two-wheelers plus how many four-wheelers are there, and wheels mean how many wheels the two-wheeler have, that is 2 into two-wheeler, because each two-wheeler has two wheels. So for TW number of two wheelers, you need 2 into TW number of wheels, plus for FW number of four wheelers, you need FW into 4. Now we know that if TW is equals to x, let us say that TW is equals to x, so FW will be V minus x, because we know that FW plus TW is equals to V. So now there are x number of TW two wheelers and V minus x number of four wheelers. That's clear. For x two wheelers we have 2x number of wheels, and for V minus x four wheelers we have V minus x into 4 number of wheels. So the total wheels is are 2x plus 4 into V minus x. So 2x plus 4 into V minus x, that is given to us the total number of wheels, that is W. Now V is given, W is given, we have to find what is x. So 2x minus 4x plus 4v equals to W, minus 2x plus 4v equals to W. So you turn this thing here and you turn this thing here. So 2x will be 4v minus W. That means x will be 4v minus W by 2. So you are getting this equation as x equals to 4v minus W by 2. You will get this thing. Now these are the constraints, like wheels cannot be like less than 2. if the number of wheels are less than 2, that means what? That means that is not possible, because a two-wheeler have two wheels, a four-wheeler have four wheels. So how, even if there is one car or zero car, how can it go less than 2, like 0 or negative? And also this cannot be uh, odd number, because each wheels, like each vehicles has even number of wheels. So when you add even numbers, you will get only even numbers, you cannot get any odd numbers. So this must be even. And also v will be less than w, because each time you are adding a vehicle, the the number of wheels is getting higher, it's not getting lower. So that's it. If these constraints are not met, then only you have to print invalid input in all caps. So let us see the code. At first v and w is taken in input, then the x is like 4 into v minus w by 2 that I just told. And at last you are checking if w and 1, that means w mm, remainder 2. Now you have to know one thing: when you use and 1 with any number, if it is even, it returns 0. If it is odd, it returns 1, because the last bit, or like the least significant bit of even number is 1, and the AND operation is actually 0, and an AND operation with 1 and the rest 0 will result 0. The same thing happens here and the result comes 1. So you just need to know if the number is even and you perform this, it will return 0. So if the number is even here, it will be getting 0. And also if w is less than 2, that means uh, this is also like invalid input. And also if w is less than or equals to v, that means it is also an invalid input. So even if one of these are satisfied, you are getting invalid input. Otherwise you are printing tw equals to x, a space, then fw equals to v minus x, because x is the number of tw, then v minus x is the number of fw. And the total thing is happening in, actually it is not o of n, it is o of 1, because it's just calculation. The same thing here, taking the inputs. And as you know, python makes the input of string class, then only you have to make it of integer class. So v equals to integer class of input, w equals to integer class of input. They are taking the inputs as it was given in the test case. You are checking this thing, if this is true, then only you are using or operation. You have to keep it in mind. You are printing invalid input, otherwise you are doing this. And you have to remember that you have to use these two bars, so that if you use one bar, it will get a point 0 at last, because it makes the value as double or floating point. So whenever you are doing something to integer, you have to use double bar, and then you are printing the total thing as x and v minus x. tw equals to, in second bracket, 0. 0 means the first value and 1 means the second value that is given in inside a format. So also the time complexity is O of n, and same thing goes for the Java code. Here something is different, like if this condition is satisfied, then only you are printing this thing, because the condition here is given is not the same, it is just the opposite. That's why this is done, otherwise you are printing invalid input. And also the time complexity is O of 1. Now I will again like to say you that you can buy this total thing, sorry, you can get this total thing for free. Yeah, it's like a cheat sheet of prep insta, like TCS preparation. You can prepare the for TCS NQT properly, because all the previously held slots are given in this total doc. You can get it in any time because it is free. You don't need to buy prime for this. I think it will help you a lot, because all the previous questions are there. And actually these kinds of questions are they're not actually repeated, but the genre is the same, like the same quality questions came in TCS. And also there are prep insta prime, where you can find new courses. You can ace your preparation. You can get 30 plus companies, like 30 plus companies are there who takes exams. regarding these skills. They ask for these skills like popular skills like AI, machine learning, data, big data, cybersecurity, ethical hacking, AWS. Then popular languages like C, C++, Java, Python. Then also the coding part like basic coding, intermediate coding, competitive coding, DSA, data structure, DSA in C++, Java, Python. Everything is there, like each and everything. It's like a heaven of courses. And also there are aptitude courses. For all the aptitude courses, there are platform based preparations like CoCubes, AMCAT, HackerRank, Mittel, HackerArt. Then also companies like TCS, Digital, Cognizant, all the companies, and also product based companies like Amazon, Google, Microsoft. Then also there are CS subjects. If you are a CS student, also there are some projects like Pokemon project or Zomato review analysis, this kind of projects. Coding brush ups like automata fix is something like you will be given a code and there will be an error, and you have to fix this in very less time. And also there is pseudocode. You have to give the what will be the output for the pseudocode. And there are interview experiences. Many people who have got the job has shared interview experience. You can buy the total thing and you can just ace your interview or ace your total preparation. If you are thinking, I think you should buy one. Then let us jump into the next code, that is TCS NQT parking lot matrix. In this code, it is saying that you will be giving at first the number of rows and then the number of columns, and after that in each line there will be this elements like 0 or 1 because binary. And this means if there is a car or not. Suppose for the first test case, it says there are 3 rows and 3 columns. So the first row is 0 1 0. That means there is no car, there is one car, there is no car. Then 1 1 0, there is car, there is car, there is no car. And 1 1 1, there is car, there is car, there is car. So in which row there are maximum cars? That is this one. So this one will be the output, like the third row will be the output. And also for that, for this case also the same thing is happening. Now what we are doing, at first we are taking this 4 and 3, like for this one we are taking this 4 and 3 for input. Now we are taking a for loop where I will be going 0 to 3, like this n minus 1, that means 3, or just like not 4, it is not crossing 4. Now we are taking this for j 0 to 2, that is 2 minus 3 minus 1. Now we are taking these inputs, like we are taking these 3 inputs 0 1 0. Then we are adding it in sum. We are checking if the value of sum is maxima, then only we are just writing id or the index value will be 1. After that, if it is again happening, then the index value will change, just like that. Let me write down the code for you. At first r and c is taken, then I is equals to 0 to r minus 1, j is equals to 0 to j minus 1. Here you can see I am not even using an array. You don't need to use an array. This is more optimum than using an array because the space complexity will be reduced. Now for j is equals to 0, j is less than c minus 1, like j is still c minus 1. You are taking the input for a, like just an element, and you are adding it in sum. Now m was int min, so if sum is greater than m, that means anything, even if there is no car, it will be greater than m. So m is sum, so m will be from int min the sum, that is 1 if the input was 0 1 0 for the first row, and in will be I plus 1, that is I was 0, so in will be 1 0 plus 1. Now for the same, if you take this 1 1 0, the same thing is happening. Now you are doing this sum equals to 0. You don't please don't forget to do this thing, otherwise they will be added to the previous sum. Now again you are adding this total thing, so 1 plus 1 plus 0, that is 2, that is greater than m. So now m is 2 and in is 1 plus 1, that is 2. Now at last you have 1 1 1, that is 3, the sum is 3. Again m is greater than what, 2, like sum is greater than m, that is 2. So the m is 3 and in is I plus 1, that is 2 plus 1, that is 3. Suppose there is again another one, 0 0 1. So then, so now the sum is the total of it, that is 1. So now sum is not greater than m, so the m value will not change, the in value is not changing. So if r is equals to 4 and c is equals to 3, and this is the input like 0 1 0 1 1 0 1 1 1 0 1 0 0 1, then only the you will print the index, that is 3. So the output will be 3, and the time complexity here is r into c, because this is the number of times you have to iterate the for loop. The same thing is happening with the space, the same thing is not happening with the space, because you are not taking any extra space, so it is going on con constant space, like it will be done in constant space complexity, auxiliary space. And this is the same thing for Python. You are taking these integer inputs, you are assigning these values with 0. You can also use in place of 0, you can also use sys dot max size in negative -1, but for that one you have to import sys, so that it will work like int min. Also you can use just -1, because no value will be less than -1. Now the same thing is here. I is j, I is in range of r, j is in range of c, sum plus equals to int of input. If sum is greater than m, m is sum, id is I plus 1, sum is 0, because after this for loop you have to sum is 0, and again this for loop starts, and you have to print id, the same time complexity and the same space complexity. So that's it guys, I guess it helped you, and thanks a lot for listening the total thing.